Hey guys, I'm going to start by apologizing for the fact that I'm wearing these massive shades. Some days my blind eyes are more sensitive to light than others. Don't ask me to explain, it would take a half hour to go into the details as why. But I still do perceive some light and glare, and some days it gets painful. So that's why I've got the shades on today. No offense, I would love to make eye contact with you, but it hurts. So at any rate, I just did a video about how the news is not reporting anything but the Kavanaugh hearings. I watched a total of about 5 hours of news this morning, equally divided between the cable outlets, MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News. Maybe a little more with the Fox News because I was running around, doing my morning stuff while that was on. So it might have been a couple of minutes longer with Fox. And everybody's just covering Kavanaugh and not the rest of the news of the world. And that led me to think about the interactions I was watching on virtually every channel where they have panel discussions. And I've come up with a test, or not necessarily a test, but maybe a strategy as to how you can win any argument, political or otherwise. You can win any argument and at the same time lose the argument. See, in this world where winners are hated, it seems, and losers get glorified, you'd like to make your point maybe, but still at the same time lose the argument. If you can't wrap your head around that, just shut off the video and go find a cute video of a singing bulldog or somersaulting cat. They are all over YouTube. All right, here's how to win and lose an argument at the same time. And there's plenty of examples. Just tune into any of the news outlets where there are panel discussions, daytime talk shows, particularly women's daytime talk shows like The View. Okay, tune into those and you will instantly see how to win and lose an argument. For one thing, you keep talking as fast as you can, you make as many points as you can. Sometimes you are redundant and you repeat the points, and by repeating the points, you hope the points will become more clear and more true in the mind of the holder, because you've got a point to make, and by God, you're going to talk as fast as you possibly can and as loudly as you possibly can if they start to interject. Okay, you will, by sheer force, if you've got more force in your lungs and more stamina, and more intensity in your gaze, more intensity in your body language and face, you will bully the other person into losing the argument. But of course, you've lost the argument yourself because it wasn't a discussion, it wasn't an argument. You were preaching. You were forcefully preaching, but you were preaching. Okay? So when you shout over somebody else without allowing them to finish their point, and I see it happening from both sides. The debate this morning was between Harris somebody and Jake somebody. And Jake's the lib and Harris is the moderator and ostensibly more conservative. And then there had a super conservative lady whose name I did not catch. Again, I cannot read the crawl or the graphics on the screen. So I don't know their names. But what kept happening is Jake I'm going to talk over you as fast as I can, and I'm going to bring in unrelated points, and I'm going to bring in really emotional points. And then the conservative woman would get equally strident, but she's got the female voice going. So it's like an air raid siren going off compared to this guy. All right, it really is. I mean, her voice is a pleasant enough voice, but she's using it at a pitch. It sounds like an electric drill. Anybody trying to judge the merits of the discussion would be clueless, because nobody is permitted to have a space to complete a thought, nor do people give enough space in their presentation, their side of the argument, to allow reasoned comment, even to see if the other person understands. For instance, I've had discussions with my wife where she will keep belaboring the same point over and over again because she hasn't given me the chance to say, I heard you, I understand, what you just said to me is this, and here's the problem I have with that, or here's where I disagree, or here's where I agree. If you don't give the other participant in a discussion an opportunity to show that they have heard what you've said and that you understand it, again, you're just preaching, you're not having a discussion. Another thing you need to do when you go into a discussion, if you don't want to win it and lose it at the same time, is have your facts straight with citations, with verification. I had a guy that came at me and he said, you know, Paul, African Americans are 13% of the United States population, but they commit 56% of the violent crimes. Now, that's a very emotional statistic, racially charged, really, really powerful. And I said, okay, cool. You're stating that as a fact. Facts are not hate facts. Facts are not political facts. They're not mansplaining. Facts are facts. You can verify them. Facts and statistics don't have intentions. The people that use them do. But the facts themselves and the statistics don't have an intention. So the only thing you can do to counter an argument where someone is throwing out facts is to say, prove it. Show me your sources. Where are you getting this? Do you have a copy of the FBI's 2016 crime report right in front of you, as you quote me this racially charged statistic? If you don't, even though your, quote, fact is very, very emotional and affects the person you're talking to on a gut level, if it's bullshit, you should be called on it. Because I hear a lot of people stating things as facts that simply aren't. They're not verifiable. By the same token, I hear people produce facts who do have citations, but because those facts don't fit the narrative of the other person, they don't allow those facts to be considered, which facts really should be considered if you're discussing something, especially if it's something of importance. You know, you really need to discuss facts. So if we're discussing abortion, and I had this, okay, I'll come clean on this. I'm pro-life. I believe that human life starts at the moment of conception. But it's not a religious belief as much as it is based on what I know of the science, gestational science. And, the seed is not going to turn into anything but the tree that it's supposed to turn into. So therefore, I believe the life starts with the germinated seed in the case of humanity. And for me, it's not a religious thing at all, although I believe that it should be maybe because I claim to be a Christian. But that's not what informs my opinion. I had tried to have a discussion because something had come up in the news with a friend of mine who is a college professor at the University of South Carolina. He is a United States citizen, but one who immigrated legally. All right? He fled fascism. When he was a kid growing up, his country was under the rule of Generalissimo Francisco Franco. And it was absolutely a fascist dictatorship. So he's very reactionary about anything that appears to be an infringement on human rights. I get that. So he comes in and he says, how do you feel about abortion? Challenge in his voice. And I started by saying, I'm pro-life. Before I could explain my actual reasoning behind that, and it includes more than science, it includes social issues as well. But before I had a chance to express myself, he, with spittle flying from his mouth and venom in his voice, said, "It is because you believe in your God. It's all about your stupid God. We got past God in the 19th century in the age of reason. Why do you still hang on to your God?" No, that wasn't the point, but he didn't let me finish. You see, he didn't let me finish. What I might have said is, I think it's very sad when a culture feels that it's okay to kill pieces of its own future. It seems to be a bit suicidal for the culture, because every one of those babies has potential. You don't know which one is going to become the next great scientist, the next great orator, the next great criminal, the next great author, someone that will really affect society, everything that we go through. So what kind of a society cuts off its nose to spite its face? That's my larger concern, actually. But I never got a chance to explore that idea with him because he immediately turned it into an attack on my faith in God. That kind of shit does not help you win an argument. You win, maybe, just by sheer force and anger and ugliness. But in the end, you lose. If you wanted to have a discussion with your senator about the process of investigation of a candidate for a seat in the Supreme Court, is it a discussion when you trap him in an elevator and scream at him? If you're a news person and you're interviewing somebody and you cut them off before they can complete, yes, I realize it makes for better television, better reporting, better radio. It makes for much worse journalism. You're not allowing the person to complete their thought. That's how you win and lose an argument at the same time. You might look good. Your friends at the bar might go, "Wow! Yeah! Motherfucker! He put that son of a bitch in his place! Fucking A!" By the way, that's Brett Kavanaugh at age 17. Okay, that's a joke. That's a joke. Somebody's going to get really mad at me. Somebody's going to push the dislike button and YouTube will flag me. No, that's not winning an argument. That's just being sort of a verbal bully. And you're not hearing the other person's side, and you might discover, hey, you got a bunch of stuff in common. Because if you don't figure out what you've got in common with the other half of society, there is no progress, whether you call yourself a progressive or not. If you don't win arguments with logic and reason and facts and patience and respect for the person that you're discussing with, nothing moves forward. And in the greater sense, I think society wins and loses the argument. Sorry for getting political. I don't do that on this channel. But sometimes stuff bugs me. I'm going to do a pinch. That way I can justify this as a snuff video, all right? A mixture that's about 99 parts of the Irish DH toast from Wilson's of Sharrow, and the rest just a few large pinches of some taupe whiskey and honey I had left over, added to fill up the snuff box. Cheers, up yours. I hope you and I can have a good argument sometime.